hit record. And make sure it's recording to the cloud, you know.
We are good.
Okay, good. All right, so as I mentioned, this is just a simple no-cost strategy to become an expert in anything, but you can use it in a lot of different ways for real estate, also different markets, different audiences, different geographic areas, all kinds of different things, different trends, and so on. There's a lot of stuff you can pay for, you know, like we typically would always recommend keeping current matters, for example, which is a great source that will generate content that is somewhat branded with you, where, you know, your contact information and profile and everything is on the content link, you know, the pages. So that's one. And there's a lot of other ones out there too. So there's other things that you can do to pay for that provide you infographics and stuff like that. That's, you know, more designed, and you can share that stuff. But regardless, I would still do this anyhow. So what we're going to talk about is what is curating. I don't think enough people use that terminology because I think it helps paint a clear picture on what we're really doing when it comes to content. And it takes some of the pressure off of feeling like you have to always create your own content. Well, that's great. You know what I mean? There's curating and creating are two different things. And we're going to talk about what is the juice. That's a term that, you know, we used in a different industry when I was in the boiler room, you know, Wall Street, Glengarry, Glen Ross type of environment. We would be looking for the juice. And we'll talk about what that is, because that's what really you're going to end up with if you put this in place, is you'll have a constant stream of juice that you can use in a lot of different situations. It will make you an expert for sure, you know, in anybody that you're communicating with, and you'll feel like an expert because you'll have all the context. Where should I use it? So once you've got the juice in that stream coming in consistently, where can you share all of that, and where can you use it to your advantage? And then we'll walk through the technology that's required in the terms that are used to, you know, to act like a filter, right? So we're going to walk through that. We'll literally create an example. And as I told you guys, it's super simple. So starting off with, what is content curation? We all know content is king. Really, content curation is just the act of discovering, gathering, and presenting all that information, right? The best way that I heard it, it was, you know, an audiobook that I can't recall right now, but it was talking about how, you know, you don't necessarily have to go out and create all of your own content these days. While that's great, you know, that can be a lot of work for some people. I was literally on a call 3 hours ago and had to have this whole emotional discussion about why, you know, I won't say anybody's name, but why she can't create content. She sees everybody else doing it on Facebook and everything, and she wants to attract more people, buyers, sellers, and agents, but she just can't create the content. She just can't shoot the videos because of fear, right? Fear that somebody's going to judge her, fear that people are going to think she's just kind of whoring out her brand, people that are going to think that it's just stupid information or whatever, right? So anyhow, you know, it can be difficult, but you don't have to create your own. I mean, these days, back in the day, you were the person who had all the information. As I understand it, people in real estate like 50 years ago, right? You had a book and the lock and key to information when people wanted access prior to the internet. You know, that's not the case anymore, right? They can get information. 86% of people first start online, right? When they're looking to find a home. You think, you know, agents that are looking for other places to partner with, they're probably looking online first. So, you know, that's not the same anymore where you hold the keys to the content, but you can, because of that, there's so much content out there. There's so much that it's difficult to discern what the real valuable stuff is. And what I love is when Miranda says, hey, I saw this good TED Talk. What we all love, and when someone says that we hold in high regard, hey, you got to listen to this audiobook or this Netflix show you have to watch or something, right? They didn't create it, right? But they're curating it, and then they're communicating it to us. Going back to the way I heard it best described, and we'll move on. But it's curate, communicate, and clarify. Those are the three things that if you can become an expert for your audience in, because they're overwhelmed with information. And if you can be the person that filters away all the crap, gets the really good information, communicates that to them through whatever method makes sense, and then provides clarification on that information. When you look at it through that lens, it's not too daunting because you don't have to do any of the creating, right? We just need a system so that we can get all the information coming to us. So again, curate, communicate, and provide clarity. Those three simple steps. If it's challenging to create your own content, you'll love this because this will basically, give you everything you need to not have to do that. When it comes to juice, so literally when I was in the investment business, juice was, man, I got this person that I've been talking to, an investor, trying to get him to write a check for $100,000. And I've been talking to them for like, by the way, these calls we would try to make happen on a one call close, which rarely happen. Rarely. I'm talking about one call closes is like the unicorn in that business. But I mean, it would happen. One time I had somebody send a check. I didn't even have time to call them back with the package. You send out a prospectus. Anybody who's still gets any paper thing related to investments, you know what I'm talking about. And it was FedExed over. It usually takes like 2 days to get there. It was overnight. But like before I could follow up with the guy, a check came in, you know what I mean? So that was a unicorn, never ever happened again. Anyhow, the juice is what I would want to follow up with that person with. Man, they've been taking their time. I can't keep calling them back with like, hey, have you made a decision yet? Or, that you start to sound like a broken record. Are you ready to make the move yet? Have you decided finally to put your home on the market? What you just kind of start like to sound like a broken record, and you definitely break rapport. So what I was always looking for, what we were looking for is new information. We would scan the news and feeds, social media feeds really didn't have that then, but now you'd scan anything you could for some sort of juice, some new information, in whether it was market conditions, right? A certain stock went up, a certain commodity price went up. There was a reduction in production because of these storms. Right now, that's what everybody in the oil business would be saying is right now is a great time, man. Oil is going to go up, right? Did you see that like 84% of the Gulf production is offline right now? Gas is it all, this is the time to buy, yada, yada, yada. That's the juice, that information, especially when you're making follow-up calls. Miranda was one of our top ISAs for years. And most of our nurtures, for instance, which are people that we would speak to about buying or selling a home, but weren't quite ready to meet right now, they usually would take about 6 to 8 months to mature to the point where they were ready to get face to face with an agent. And in the meantime, there was a lot of follow-up, and you had to have something else to say besides, hey, Miranda, it's Jeff again with Expert Advisors. And we had spoken about 60 days ago about getting your home on the market. And I wanted to see if, anything had changed, or are you getting closer to the point where you're thinking about doing that, or whatever it is that you would say. What happens the next time? You're going to keep saying that same thing, and so what we're looking for is some new information that would allow me to say something more like, hey, Miranda, this is Jeff at Expert Advisors. Listen, the reason I wanted to call you is I just came across this new piece of information about what's going on right now with the real estate market here. And it also reminded me about what you and I had talked about. So you can see the difference. If I have some new information to go into the call with, it raises my enthusiasm level, and I've got something new to engage them with before we get back to the point of obviously seeing whether or not they've decided to make any move forward, right? So based on the premise of prospects make new decisions based on new information. If you're not giving them new information and you're just following up to see if they're ready, that's not a very good strategy, or it's not the best strategy. Let's put it that way. You are doing good by following up because that's, most people aren't following up. So you're winning at some level, but you guys all know what I mean. When you keep following up with somebody and you're like, damn, what the hell am I going to say? Like, man, every time I talk to them, and just that alone, right, affects your energy level, and you get stuck in some negative thought patterns potentially if you don't have some new information to go into it with. So I want a source that feeds me new information all the time. So every single day, if I got to call that investor back, if I got to call that homeowner back, that I've got some new information that I can share. I'm sharing everybody today that I talk with this new information. That's my juice for the day. That's going to get me excited, right? And help me excite others, hopefully. So where we want to squeeze that juice or share that juice is like Facebook groups, for instance. What we're going to do here tactically is something that's going to feed us all that juice that we can choose from. And we can then use it as a simple source for generating content in our Facebook groups, on LinkedIn. We can use it as a source to create video subject matter. We can use it as the juice for follow-up calls, like I just talked about. We can use it for subject matter related to blog posts. We can use it for subject matter to talk about on podcasts or different team training. So all of that are the places that we can use it. Where it's at is right under your nose. And this is where I talked about it's super, super simple. Some of you might already use it, but Google Alerts is the technology that we're talking about. And it's free. What we can do is create alerts that will deliver to our inbox on a daily or a chosen basis. It will deliver alerts to our inbox on anything that gets published on the web and identifies certain keywords that we set up. So you can set them up. I would suggest one way to do it would be to set it up by like geographic alerts, for instance, like Dallas real estate, Dallas new construction, Dallas homes, Dallas home buyers, right? Different things like that. Then market. So market conditions, I might do something like Dallas, real estate market statistics. I could also, do Austin, right? And still be in Dallas, but I could do Austin real estate market statistics, real estate data, Austin, Texas, home buyer data, Austin, Texas, home seller data, Austin, Texas, new home sales stats, Austin, Texas, right? I can just kind of create some alerts there. What I love about it is it allows you, even if you're not in that area, you become an expert real quick because you're getting fed information from that area in a source that's curated for you in a nice, easy to read way. The other would be audience. So like new home builders, Dallas, Texas, new home builders, Austin, Texas, for sale by owner, Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, for sale by owner, new home buyers, right? Dallas, Texas, etc. In school districts, right? So interests, create alerts centered around interests. Those could be school districts. I mean, we know that that's a deciding factor a lot of the time. If we could create good content related around school districts, man, I bet you a lot of people would be interested and find that valuable. So creating content around interests of those other than you, right? You as well, but also curating content centered around your ideal client profile and your target audience. All right, so it's real simple. Google Alerts. Now you understand the strategy, and I'm going to walk through the tactics of it. All you got to do is go to Google Alerts on Google, and you'll click the alerts right here. And I mean, here you can see like some of mine. I'll show you what it looks like. But like here's, look at, I have all this crazy stuff: benefits learning management system, cold calling real estate, fear of cold calling, for sale by owner, home seller stats, etc. So you can just type in, any alert. And like I just typed Dallas home sales, and here's like the new alerts that I would have got today. So boom, home prices up 113% in one Oak Cliff zip code. Let's call everybody I got in my database in that zip code with that juice. You know what I'm saying? Now I can follow up with all those people that I was talking to that are in that area and maybe agitate them, right? Not irritate them by saying, hey, you ready to go yet? That'd be irritating. Instead, maybe we can agitate them with some new information because people make new decisions based on that. So super simple, right? And then what it gets delivered to you is, here's an example, Google Alerts every morning. I have it so that it comes once a day, all in one deal. So this is like one that I had set up personally: Lake Grapevine, Texas, Texas Trails, trail running, but you can see it curates all that for you in one feed. Over here, I probably have one that's more, there's a lot of oil and gas stuff here. Oil prices, like real estate objections. You know, I mean, you become an expert really quickly, and really it doesn't take much time. I just scan this really quickly. Or if I had that earlier in our conversation, I talked about a client who had just hired an administrative assistant who was going to be doing social media management. I just include them on those Google alerts, and that's an easy way for them to curate some of the content that we'll use in our social media strategies. So I absolutely love it. As you can see, I had it created for personal stuff too. But it's a real simple way. Going back to the whole purpose of this deal is, you know, a super easy, no cost way to create a never ending feed for you of new information so that you can communicate with your clients at a different level other than just, are you ready to move forward, right? So that's it. Google Alerts, super simple. We'll open it up, you know, for any kind of discussion on anything at this point. What's up? Anybody got something to share? Mike Fowler, how are you?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good. What have you been up
Creating
to?
an alert as you're talking.
See, like in your case, you know, you're expanding into a new area of town you don't live in. I'd be creating alerts around that area, you know, the zip code, the neighborhoods, the subdivisions. If we knew what, you know, what was popular for the audience that's in that area, maybe some alerts around social interests. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I've been getting alerts from different publications, but this is going to be help it to be refined quite a bit. So I got a question though. When we're creating an alert, so I went to Google Alerts. It says create alert, and let me go back to the notes here. So the notes say, you know, create an alert based upon the geographic market, the audience, and interests. Are those different categories, or are those just each? It
Yeah,
looks like
no,
it's
so
just
the
one
way
screen for general alerts.
those would be, I would have all those in one alert, right? So I wouldn't have like 5 different alerts broken up by each one of those categories. I use that to help me, like, what do I want to set the alert? Like, you know, what alert do I want to create? You know, I would center it around either the area, which is the geography, right? Or like the market, so getting into statistics and stuff like that, or the interests of the people that might be in that area, so that I can be up to speed and share information and I think interest wise is interesting to the audience, or you know, audience wise. So if I want to know what's happening with new home builders, if I want to know what's happening with, you know, condo associations, if I want to know what's happening with the city council, if I want to know what's happening with, you know, for sale by owners, etc., new home buyers, you know, then I can center it around that. So that just helps me spur some creativity in creating alerts.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
That
And you know, and the way that somebody else uses this is they'll create a Facebook group that's you know, that's centered around a neighborhood, like, you know, my here is Silver Lake. I don't know that it might be, there's probably a Facebook group for it. I don't know. But like Silver Lake, Grapevine, Texas, if there was a Silver Lake Facebook group, right? And this is probably, our subdivision isn't big enough. I mean, I might even say just like Grapevine Lifestyle, you know, Grapevine Lifestyle Facebook group. And where am I going to get all the shit to post in Grapevine Lifestyle? I'm just going to create a Google alert, 4 or 5 of them around Grapevine. And now I've got everything that I need, right, to post in this niche community Facebook group with information that ought to be relevant to people that are in the area as part of my target audience. And most of it is not at all service related, right? It's 80% just interesting, valuable content for the audience. I think an example of somebody who does that really, really well is Cindy Featherstone. And like one of her Facebook groups is Everything East Texas. And you know, it's what happens is through, you know, preeminence, without her saying I'm the #1 real estate team and you'd be an idiot to list your home with anybody else, without her even having to say that. People just assume she is because they see her all the time and they like the information and the people that she's positioned alongside of. They appreciate that she's curating great information that they find informative. And so, they consider whether she's overtly asking them to or not, they consider her in high regard when it comes to getting advice or to using her. So it's
Yeah,
not like you get in there in those Facebook groups and you start posting a bunch of stuff that's service related. You're trying to make a connection and build an authority with that niche audience that's in that community, right?
how is she effectively tying it back to her real estate business? And does she
Yeah.
ever run ads or do something, a little blurb about real estate here and there, or is it just really name and face recognition?
She does do, I think she posts her coming soons and new listings just listed in there. And I think she has some branding on some of it, maybe, like where
Mhm.
she meets with a lot of local business owners and she'll really I feel like she's one of those that would go into the coffee shop and definitely take a picture with the barista and make sure to post it and shout out the coffee shop, best little coffee shop in East Texas, that kind of thing. And it is under her brand. I think it's like Cindy Featherstone Team Real Estate or something is the Facebook page. So it's kind of, the branding and is there and the audience knows what she does.
Mhm.
But there's nothing like there's nothing I wouldn't suggest, and I would be surprised if she had anything that was like schedule an appointment right now or anything like that. Not at all.
It'd
Right.
be
She
a good
just
place. It'd be a
yeah,
good
go ahead.
place to post like a video of that little coffee shop, an
Yeah,
interview
right. So
with
that's
it.
what she does. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Trisha Turner does that real well too. Like she's sat down with probably 50 or so local business owners of there are people that are clientele or your clientele rather. There are people that your clientele would have to engage with pre or post sale with you. So
Mhm.
after you hand the keys over, who do they have to go spend money with? You know those people. And if you
Mhm.
can introduce them to those people, you become, again, a valuable source, curating good references and resources for them. And in some cases, a better deal because you have a VIP program, for instance, and you've got something worked out with those
Yeah.
vendors. So absolutely. I mean, she just comes in with, her camera on a tripod and sits down with the business owner and asks them a few questions. None of it has to do with Trisha Turner Properties. And it's just a showcase for her, and she expands her audience, right? That store, that business owner, they have their own audience. And so you're also expanding your audience by doing
Yeah.
that too.
I'm writing an article right now on, or let's say curating, because a lot of it just come off the internet, on what's it called, the paint colors for selling your home for the most money. And so I'm going to interview a local paint shop
Yeah, that's awesome.
as part of that. So I got that
Where
posted.
what else have you thought about? Have you thought about any others?
You know what? I'm starting to get this onto the YouTube. I think I may have mentioned that last week. I posted my first YouTube video, and so I've got a whole list. I mean, I can pull them up, but
So here's another example. It just leads me into this, and anybody else who has something to share, who's we'd love to hear it. But so I was talking to Andy Weintraub the other day and talking about what he could create videos off of. And if you've been through the expert advisor training and you actually use that value proposition and you're explaining 7 laws and that, law of cooperation, law of exposure, all that stuff, there's 7 topics right there that could
right,
easily be a video, right? So you could easily break down each one of those laws and record a video, a little 3-minute video that summarizes the impact and the benefit from that. And can you see how that would increase the home value or what you'd sell your home for by 3 to 5%, just that alone,
yeah,
and that's 7 videos right there.
right.
You know
So
what I
you'd
mean?
break down. That's one that I was going to do. So you would break down. I was debating on just do a short snippet on each law, or do one 3-minute video on each law. I mean, what would you?
I would do, I would do the whole thing and then chop it up. I would
Okay.
do the whole thing and then chop it up and use it 10 different ways. I'd take the audio and rip it. I'd make Instagram snippets. I'd have the 3-minute video. I'd have the long video. I'd have social image snapshots. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Mhm.
Jeff.
Yeah.
So just for Mike's, just for Mike, we have started a schedule of weekly podcasts, 30 minutes long. 2 are community based and 2 are helping agents, not recruiting, but like we've got engineers lined up, HVAC people, et cetera. But then on the community-based side, like we just opened up an $80 million performing arts center. We're interviewing the director of that, the #1 builder in all of Greensboro. So we're just really building our brand by associating with the community and then also giving good tips to agents. And we film all 4 30-minute segments on Tuesday nights, and then they run every Tuesday starting October 1st every week. So it's really not hard to do, and there's a lot of people that want to do it for you. You'd be surprised how many people want to do those things.
How
Are
do
you doing-
go ahead, Mike?
Are you doing that in person or Zoom type, or what type of interview are you doing?
So we got really lucky, right? There's a guy from WFMY, which is the local CBS channel, and he's opened up his own podcast studio called Broadcast to Go. So we're filming them in his studio, and a majority are in person, but there are going to be some where there'll be a Zoom screen up, and we'll be interviewing that person on the Zoom screen.
Okay, so you're having them professionally recorded, then you have actual camera guy
Right.
there.
Right, and then we're going to be able to, do like Jeff was just talking about, tear off snippets and do Instagrams and put it on our YouTube channel. And yeah, it's exciting. It's $2,000 a month,
Okay.
which I think is pretty reasonable.
How many videos do you, 2,000 a month?
I mean,
how
listen,
many-
yeah, how much would you pay to be on TV? How much would you
Yeah.
pay to be on TV? And there's
Yeah.
more eyeballs on social media feeds and on
Yeah.
YouTube and stuff than there is on TV right
Yeah,
now,
that's
right?
for-
So
that's
instead
for-
of 2 million.
Yeah, that's for 4 a month, 4 30-minute segments.
For $2,000, so $500 per.
Yeah,
And they do video, the taping, the editing, everything.
everything. Yep.
Man,
And I think in a lot of places, there's places that do that. Like I know in Dallas, there's some people that have, just recognized that that's a trend. And so they've created little podcast recording studios and stuff that you can rent a la carte by the hour and stuff, just like a music studio. So, if you looked, there's a chance that there might be something like that around you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey guys, I got to take a little time out here to address the situation that came up.
Cool.
I'm just going to mute myself for now.
All right. So where are you getting where how do you deciding on who's going to be on your shows there, Mike?
It's 2 things. It's their level of importance to the community and their character, the character of the person being interesting versus just some, librarian who's reading from a book and, putting you to sleep. So we do take their personality into account in selecting them. And then we also take into account their importance to the community, or to, the level of interest.
Would you be willing to share what that sounds like when you make a call either in person or or over the phone or something to invite somebody to be in that situation? What would that sound like?
Sure. So the first one we did was with this gentleman, Andy Zimmerman, who has restored 12 and his partners in 6 more major buildings in downtown Greensboro. We call him Mr. Greensboro. And hi, Andy, how you doing? I wanted to introduce you to a concept we're doing, and it's all about making the community aware of what's going on. And you are a great voice and a major influencer in the city. And I think a lot of people would like to know what you're up to and what you've accomplished. And would you be willing to, give me 30 minutes of your time on a Tuesday night so I can schedule you in? And of course, we'll make that available to you so you can put it on your link. I know you have a couple, I think you said you have 2,000 influencers you're involved with Instagram. And would you be willing to do that for us?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's huge. I was listening to the book Letting Go. Matter of fact, Michael Reese, I saw him at Build, and I was like, what book are you reading right now? And he said Letting Go, which I had heard already. And so I'm about halfway through that. But, this morning on my run, it was talking about how if you want something real bad, you ain't going to get it. You got to let it go. And so when we talk about Mike, and I'm just saying, don't, I get what you meant too. But when we talk about how does that relate back to the business, it don't, it don't, but it does. I know the universe will take care of it because I have let go of worrying about how it's going to come back and benefit my pocketbook. Once I let go of the content needing to turn into money in my pocket, I think you probably free yourself up to create better content, and then the universe takes care of itself. It's
just continue adding value, and that will attract more people.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, honestly, we really don't have $2,000 in our budget for those podcasts, but what we felt we were going to end up spending in attraction, which would be a lot more clumsy and a little bit more threatening and not so entertaining. We just felt like it was a smarter investment.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I don't know, you could even take real estate professionals that might be on your top 100 recruits list and invite them to share knowledge or something. I mean, also, right. And create a connection there and stuff, which if you did it again, not with the goal of getting them to join or anything, but just making that connection. Yeah, definitely. Content's where it's at for sure. I think, but what the deal is, like, Mike is spending that or investing that to have it done professionally, but that doesn't mean that you would have to, you know what I mean? I mean, you can do it anywhere, as we all know. I mean, you can see Eric's got that blurred background set up. So, even if you're embarrassed about your background, you can just blur it out.
I was wondering what that is.
Well, you know what it is that sometimes the missus is walking back and forth. She doesn't want to be on camera, right? So there you go.
I get it. No, so, but my
I didn't
point
know
is,
that was a thing. I should do that.
That's a feature in Zoom for sure.
Is it? Wow. Because usually
that might be the best tip
laying
of the
on
whole
his
call.
back,
That's the best
doing
tip.
his thing.
That's hilarious.
Jeff, I just wanted to, and for everyone, it's just amazing how much content we have coming at us every single day, every hour of the day. Depending sometimes on some of the services that you're using, you're getting content that's being pre-posted for you or automatically posted for you, depending on what type of services you're using, whether it be on Instagram or Facebook or what have you. And it's really just a matter of just, as Jeff said, just taking that information and repackaging it, repurposing it.
Man, repurposing. Yeah, you nailed
right?
it,
Eric. And funny enough, I mean, I've been doing Google Alerts for years, and I just looked up some of the Google Alerts. I've not been using them for real estate, but I look up the Google Alerts that I've got, and I've got Toronto Raptors. I'm a big Raptors fan, right? And I wanted to make sure that I was getting everything coming down my pipeline about Toronto Raptors. One tip I should mention, if you are going to set up Google Alerts, and that is that if you're using a keyword or multiple keywords, you're gonna want to put them in quotations. Because if you don't put them in quotations, Google Alert looks at each word as a separate word, and it will search for you just based on that individual word, as opposed to the phrase. And if you're using multiple keywords in your alert, you're going to want to set it up as a phrase, so stick it in quotation marks.
Good point.
Yeah,
that's important. Yeah, I forget what I was going to say there, but yeah, that's all good stuff. What I was going to say though is really the reality is, you don't have to have it professional. you just need to do it. Most people's problem, I think, is right there, the doing it part, because you run these tapes in your head about it's going to be stupid, it's not good information, somebody's already done that, oh, my background isn't good enough, I sound like an idiot. I mean, that all goes through your head in microseconds. And then you get stuck in that negative thought pattern. And so, I think that's where most people have a problem, just like it is picking up the phone and cold calling. It's as soon as I see that phone, there goes that tape with the negative thought pattern, and it makes it difficult. So I think I just focus on hitting action, man, hitting action. And as I told Shannon, who I was on the phone with not too long ago, is you need to just shoot it and send it. Shoot it and send it. In her case, she has an administrative assistant who can chop it up, who can brand it and do all of that. And so all she should do is just shoot it and send it before she can get in her own way. And somebody else will take care of chopping it up, branding it, and getting it out there, because, it can be a lot of pressure, right? I mean, you might be overcritical yourself. I remember Frank Curran on something saying one time, he don't watch his own shit. He's like, I never watch it. I don't watch any of it, because, once you go watching it, you're liable to not like it. And then that'll impact whether or not you do it. So, but I think that's it, man. We could all shoot more content. And that's obviously important today. What, anybody have good news? Let's wrap things up with some good news or positive focus for the rest of the week. I'll tell you, my positive focus is, I purchased our tickets for Costa Rica today. So we're going on the 23rd to October 1st. We usually go somewhere for my birthday, September 28th. So this year it'll be Costa Rica. So I bought the tickets today. I kept, just lagging on buying the tickets, but I bought those today. So that's my good news. Yeah.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I was in Costa Rica, gosh, it's 20 years ago. I'm sure it's changed.
Where were you at?
We flew into San Jose, and then we went on the Pacific Coast side, and it went up into the volcanoes. Didn't get to that big lake there's a volcano with a big lake, big windsurfing lake. Didn't get out there. Monte Verde was a big volcano and rainforest, and I believe it was Monte Verde. It will come down and go right on down to the ocean. And it's a really cool place. You could chill on the beach, white sand beach, and all the wild animals are behind you, monkeys and sloths and doing their thing. It's a pretty cool place. I love that place.
Yeah, cool.
You know where you're staying, Jeff?
Yeah, we're staying at Los Sueños Resort there. It's by Jaco, something like that.
Oh, you're staying one place the whole time? And then
staying in one place the whole time. It's got like everything there. You know what I mean? It's there was some really cool places that were up in the jungle, and I would tend to like a little more boutique kind of place. But like I wanted direct beach access at the same time. And so some of those places that were in the jungle that were super cool, like 12-room only type places, but it wasn't right on the beach.
Yeah.
So here we're right on the beach and we can go into the jungle.
We did a combination of that, but we stayed in 2 weeks. We probably stayed in 5 different places. And oh boy, we rented a car, and that car was not the same that we returned. We just beat the crud out of that thing. I had to pay someone $50 to say, hey, take it and sign it off.
That's funny.
Those roads are rough out in the back country, but it's fun. Great place. Hey, I got a good news to share here. So, I've been working to get into the Bay Area market, and we've closed several buyer transactions, but we're closing our first listing transaction on either Friday, which is tomorrow, or Monday. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. That's
so what's the price point on that home, if you don't mind me asking?
The list price was $1 million, and we got $1,070,000.
Nice. So, and compared to like 8 months ago, your average home sale price would have been what?
$450,000.
Yeah, so that's a nice deal.
You know, what's interesting is that's a
Pretty pay rate.
lower end property. I mean, it was because the average price is $1.6 million out there now, so it's kind of entry level.
That's awesome. And where did that person come from?
I actually helped her buy it a couple years ago, so it's just maintaining contact and database.
Yeah.
And
that's
so it
great.
just turned out that, you know, things just happen nicely.
Yeah.
But
You got to be there, right? Right. You got to be there.
it's gonna be a lot easier when I'm there full time.
Well, I just mean you got to be there in front of your prospect when they're ready to make a decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be there around. Cool.
Right.
Well, man, I appreciate everybody hopping on, and you know, we'll do it again next week. And if anybody needs anything, you know how to get a hold of us, Miranda, Sierra, or myself, or Wally, or whoever else. All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Jeff. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Awesome.
Appreciate y'all.
Take care.
Take care,
Have a
guys.
good day, guys.